Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I really have to go live earlier because I have a commitment at 8 p.m. So I will be starting once you find out that I'm already online, and I know it's gonna take a bit of time, but you're gonna find out that I'm live, and I hope that you will also be able to watch an earlier podcast video instead of the usual 8 p.m. But for now, let me greet those who are in the audience already. Thank you so much for tuning in. And I hope you stay up until the end of the podcast video. Also, our topic for tonight is all about toxicity. So, our topic is called Are You Toxic? We have talked about toxic people last time. So now it's about time that we talk about you because it's our Thinking Tuesdays episode. And we would like to know and find out more about ourselves. So we are going to talk about you. Are you toxic? And of course, we will be finding out more later on. But before that, I'd like to greet everyone in the audience, the ones who are watching live. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hello, Ma'am Narisa. Good evening po. Thank you so much for tuning in. And to those who are watching there, who are silently watching, don't worry. This is a safe zone. You can ought not to post anything, but you can also post your comments. You can also post where you're watching from. You can also share your experiences. You can definitely do that. Again, this is a safe zone. Whatever you want to say, for as long as they're within the meets and boundaries of respect, we always accommodate them. So thank you so much to those who are watching live, and to those who are watching via replay. Thank you so much. We also see you because we can see the analytics after the video is posted. So thank you as well to those who are watching via replay. And even if you're watching via replay, you can definitely still post your comments, your suggestions, your reactions. Okay, it doesn't matter if you agree or you don't agree. That's okay, for as long as again we treat each other with respect. This is one of the pages on Facebook that is a safe zone. You can definitely share your comments here, your suggestions or whatever. We will recognize you for as long as it's respectful, not only to me but also to those who are reading the comments. Okay, hello Engineer Ariel Tan Miranda. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hello. Grabe sa Iberian. So, parang feeling ko naging Nora Honor ako. O, ayan ka na naman. Ilang days pa bago ko mawala yung yeye niya. Diyos ko. Hello po, Ma'am Evangeline. Thank you so much. Nakita ko po yung post niyo last time. Hindi ko alam kung nag-greet ko kayo, pero congratulations po sa inyong milestone. Thank you po for tuning in. Okay, our topic for tonight for Thinking Tuesday, especially to those who do not know me yet. Wait lang. Parang maiwan yung charger ko. Okay. To those who do not know me yet, I'm Ivorine, a real estate broker in the Philippines, a motivational speaker and a writer. And I'm also hosting every night, this podcast video. So this is obviously a live recording, so you can definitely get in touch with me. You can interact with me. You can ask me questions. You can also share your experiences so that I can also interact with you. And every single night we have a different podcast theme. So tonight we are going to talk about something along the lines of Thinking Tuesdays. And the inspiration for this topic is so much about people have been asking me how to deal with toxic people, and I've already talked about that several times, even on my personal page. Now, I also talked about that on my official Facebook page. So there, we have talked about toxic people so many times, but what we want to know is that, are we toxic too? So our topic for tonight is, are you toxic? So we will be finding out more about that later on. Hello po, Sir Tayag. Thank you so much for constantly watching. Ayan si Sir. Always so supportive. Thank you so much po. Hello, Ma'am Nita. Thank you so much din po. Mga taga-North, napaka-supportive. Thank you so much. Sana kayo mga taga-South? Mga bandila ko po South pero parang walang nanonood ng mga taga-South. Nasaan kayo, mga taga-South? Pakiwagayway naman ng bandila. So, Again, I'd like to apologize for a very early podcast. It should be 8 p.m. Pero dahil nga I have a commitment at 8 p.m. So we'll make it earlier para lang hindi nyo ako ma-miss. Kunwari na mi-miss nyo ako. Ina-assume ko lang. Okay. So let's start our conversation. Are you toxic? That's the topic for tonight for Thinking Tuesdays. And what are the signs that you are toxic? Ma'am Kla, hello, good evening po. Keep safe din po. Yeah, watching from Quezon Province. Ayan, may taga-South. Hello, ma'am. Ayan, may taga-South na. Finally, meron na nagwagayway ng bandila ng mga taga-South. Thank you, ma'am. Okay, so let's start with the signs if you are toxic. The first one is you manipulate people. Okay, manipulative people, di ba? Maraming ganyan. You are manipulating people into believing that they need you all the time. So there are so many reasons why people manipulate people, but that's basically because the generic reason for that is because people want to control people. That's it. Yun lang yun, control over somebody else. But yeah, so that's the first sign that you are toxic if you are manipulating people. How do you manipulate people? Di ba minsan yung parang inaano natin sila, gumagamit tayo mga emotional blackmailing, ganyan. And actually, we do this also at home, not only sa mga kasama natin sa work or sa labas. Actually, we do this at home as well. Yung mga ganyang mga strategies, diba? Yung pag hindi mo yung ginawa, malulungkot si mommy, yung ganon. That's actually one of the signs that you are trying to manipulate people. For kids, ginagawa din naman natin yun eh. And what I'm not saying that it's bad, but I'm saying that it has an effect to people. And eventually, it becomes a source of anxiety. Okay? Next is inconsistency. Hindi ka consistent sa sinasabi mo. You are toxic when you are not consistent with what you're saying. You're saying one thing and then you're acting another. So that's one thing that that's a sign that you are toxic. Ano ibig sabihin nun? Anong example nun? For example, ano ba? For example, yung mga nangangako tapos hindi tinutupad. Siguro gano'n na lang. Pero meron din na mga inconsistencies pagdating sa trabaho, especially may sasabi mo, tutulungan mo yung katrabaho mo, pero eventually pinaasa mo lang. Yan. So, inconsistency. Another sign that you're toxic is that you're high maintenance. Ang hirap mong ma-please. A lot of people have already been exerting their efforts, exerting their time, and yet you are never satisfied. You are never pleased. You never appreciate. So yun, that's another sign that you're toxic. You're high maintenance. And then another one is, excuse me, you always need something from someone. Okay. Interdependency is totally different from ano ba yung isa? Interdependency tsaka yung codependency. Diba? Iba-iba yung mga klase ng dependence. But when you're always needing something from someone, you are basically labeled ng mga millennials, okay, this is a millennial term, masyado kang needy. Yung parang lahat na lang mayat maya may kailangan ka sa ibang tao. Parang hindi mo na kaya maging independent. And there's nothing wrong with needing something from someone. Don't get me wrong. Eventually, you will need something from someone. Ano ba yun? Nasobrahan yata ako na naman ng kain tonight. Tumataas na naman yung acid ko. This is acid reflux, by the way. Pagka nasobrahan ako ng kain, dami kong kinain kanina, kaya yan na naman. Inuubo na naman ako. Anyway, so there's absolutely nothing wrong with needing something from someone. That's normal. We cannot exist on our own. We can never exist on our own. But what I'm saying is that when you're always needing something from someone just to exist, yun ang tinatawag nating katoksikan. Masyado ka ng needy. Parang hindi ka na makakilos na wala kang kailangan sa ibang tao. We also have to be independent because it's not all the time that we have people, bending over backwards for us. So, yes. That's another sign that we are toxic when we always need something. Always, meaning 100% of the time, hindi ka makagalaw na wala kang hinihinga ng tulong. Okay. Good evening pala. That's also okay, Ma'am Cla. Pa-shoutout? Ano to? Pa-shoutout kay FO1 Arthur Mendoza. He's watching from Nueva Ecija. Ayun, mga taga-North. Kaway-kaway. Thank you so much, FO1 Arthur Mendoza, for always watching. Alam ko, ano na kayo para kayong tribe. I have my Northern tribe. Always supportive of the live podcast episodes. Thank you so much. Hello, Sir Ariel. Nice. Or thank you po. Ayan, wala na tong pulbo-pulbo. Nagkilay lang ako tsaka eyeliner. Yun na yun. Buti na lang maayos naman ang itsura ko sa camera. Ayan. Binawi ko naman sa background. May mga kumukutitap sa likod ko. Okay. Another thing is, okay, wait. My prompter is really small. Another thing is when you are self-serving, yung mga ginagawa mo para lang sa benefit mo, wala malang benefit yung ibang tao. Now, there's nothing wrong. Again, there's nothing wrong with doing things for yourself. But when you're always doing this at the expense of others, di ba? May mga naaapakan ka just to achieve what you want, then it's not right. Okay? Oh, Mom, this is Forever. Good evening po. Thank you so much for tuning in. Okay. So, next is you don't respect boundaries. Okay, we've talked about boundaries before. Sino po yung nakapanood na ng setting boundaries? Wait lang. Meron na ba tayong podcast episodes? Podcast episode about, setting boundaries? Meron na, di ba? How to say no? Meron na tayong how to say no. So, that's how we set boundaries. Okay, sa dami kasi ng podcast episode, hindi ko na maalala kung nag-talk na ba ako about, alam ko meron akong topic about how to say no. Yan. So, that's how we set boundaries. But when we are the person who don't respect boundaries, we become toxic. Bakit po tayo nagiging toxic? Kasi, isipin nyo, lahat po ng tao dapat meron silang boundaries, correct? And yet, when we do not respect these boundaries, nagko-cross tayo ng boundaries na yon, nagiging disrespectful tayo. Eventually, nagiging toxic tayo. We should always respect people's boundaries in the same manner that they respect our boundaries as well. So, for example, they are not comfortable to go with you to wherever, to wherever. Shouldn't force them to do so. If they're not comfortable doing a particular activity with you, then we should not force them to do so. So, that's boundaries. But there are people who cannot respect boundaries. So, nagiging toxic. So, ang tanong, by the way, ang topic for tonight, to those who just recently joined, the topic for tonight is all about, are you toxic? So, we are now talking about the signs if you are a toxic person, if we are toxic people. Okay, next is, people feel worse about themselves around you. So, we should also ask ourselves we should also ask other people, how do they feel when they are with us? Kasi minsan doon natin malalaman how we are as people, how other people feel towards you. And so, yes, it's important to know how they feel, because if they feel happier towards you, or when you're around, or if they feel more confident when you're around, then maybe you're not a toxic person after all, diba? Ano to? Meron, diba? Thank you, Sir Mendoza. Yes, ma'am, napanood ka episode mo, When to Say No. Yes, meron nga. Thank you for the validation. Akala ko naman nag-i-imagine lang ako na meron. Alam ko nga meron na talaga. Yan. Thank you. Thank you for that. Meron na talaga akong fan base. Thank you. Okay. Next is, another sign that you are toxic is when people avoid you. Just imagine when people avoid you. I mean, it's not a very happy feeling, is it? Yung iniwasan ka ng mga tao. So, yun, that's another sign that you are toxic, when people avoid you. And you are highly critical. You are you are being a perfectionist in everything. Parang lahat napapansin mo down to the tiniest detail. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being a perfectionist, but when you are overdoing it to the point that people already despise you for it, then it's no longer good. It's already a sign that you are becoming toxic. And the last sign that you are toxic is when you feel superior over other people. Ayun, when you feel superior over other people. Kasi there's no such thing. Okay, even though we are the bosses, we shouldn't feel superior. Diba? Hindi natin dapat maramdaman na sobrang angat na angat tayo sa ibang tao. Hindi siya masarap na. Although, yes, okay, fine. Sabihin na natin, masarap siyang pakiramdam, pero hindi siya masarap na pakiramdam para sa mga tao sa paligid mo, because if you feel superior, then you will probably be making other people inferior to keep your possession of being superior. Kasi remember, if you are really powerful, you don't have to exert any effort. Kasi yung power mo is coming from your personality. And if you are, in a positive way, pero pwede ka naman maging powerful in a negative way. So you really just have to choose. Anong gusto mo? Powerful na mala Superman o powerful na mala... Sino makalaban ni Superman? Powerful na mala Joker? Hindi pala yung magkalaban. Sino makalaban ni Superman? Nag-isip tuloy ako sino mga kalaban ni Superman. Okay, so anyway, hindi ako nanonood, di ba? Okay, so how do we avoid being toxic? Okay, 10 minutes na lang. Kasi 8 p.m. meron ng appointment. OMG. Okay, so ways to avoid being toxic. The first one is to reevaluate your values. And remember when we talked about values last time in a previous episode, always remember that there is no such thing as a negative value when we are talking about our values as a person. Kasi our values as a person are coming from cultural values, religious values, yung mga familial values, yung mga galing sa families natin. We have spiritual values. There is absolutely nothing negative about our values. Kaya lang naman nagiging negative yung values kapag pinag-uusapan natin math. Pero pag pinag-uusapan natin is society, there is no such thing as a negative value. So now, I'm telling you this, if you want to evaluate yourself and if you want to find out if you're a toxic person, and you already found out that you are indeed a toxic person, and, well, alam nyo, ang bad news, nalaman yung toxic kayo. Ang good news, pwede naman ninyong baguhin yan. As in, pwede siyang baguhin by re-evaluating your values. Alamin nyo, ano ba yung mga pinaniniwalaan ninyo? Ano ba yung mga alam ninyo? Ano ba yung mga gusto ninyong i-propagate na values? Ano ba yung gusto ninyong ipamana sa mga anak ninyo or sa mga kasama nyo? Ano ba yung gusto ninyong maramdaman nila? So, by reevaluating your values, we are also reevaluating how we treat other people. And it's a perfect time to reevaluate your values whenever your awareness is heightened about being toxic. Kasi nagiging toxic naman talaga tayong lahat. Huwag tayong tumingin masyado sa paligid natin. Tingnan muna natin sarili natin. Nagiging toxic tayo, especially pag stress tayo. Especially pag marami tayong problema, especially pag pagod tayo, nagiging toxic tayo. Hindi lang siguro natin napapansin. Pero kung napapadalas, kung napapansin niyo yung mga arguments sa paligid nyo, kayo na mismo yung parang cause, or kung hindi man ikaw yung cause, parang na-aggravate dahil sa'yo, then it's about time to reevaluate your values. Next is to listen to constructive criticism. And it's not easy. It's a bitter pill to swallow if you are talking about constructive criticism. It's hard to actually listen to constructive criticism, but it's important because the constructive criticisms about you will help you pinpoint based on the perspective of other people. It will help you pinpoint saan ba yung kulang natin, saan ba yung kailangan nating i-improve. And again, it's a bitter pill to swallow, but you have to swallow it anyway. Kasi dahil sa bitter pill na yan, sa constructive criticisms na yan, you will be able to improve yourself. And not only that, eventually, once you improve yourself, you will also improve your relationships. Okay? Ano to? May mga comment pala. Daming comment, wait lang. From Sir Joseph. Yes, sa finish line, pantay-pantay lang tayo sa loob ng nakasementong libingan sa ilalim ng lupa. That's true. That's a very good point. Ma'am Narissa, powerful na makamasa. That's true. That's also true. Okay. Ma'am ka, ma'am, toxic din po ba yung kasama mo sa work na laging nagpapapansin para lang may makausap siya? Yes and no. Depende kasi kung ano yung ginagawa niyang pagpapapansin. Kung nagpapapansin siyang pakit-pakit lang, medyo kaya naman sigurong i-tolerate. Pero kung excuse me, kung nagpapansin siya in a negative way, like nagsungit siya, nagtaray siya, nagbato siya ng gamit, or nabully siya, that's not good. Then it's also a manifestation of being toxic. Pero kung nagpapansin ka lang, kasi minsan ginagawa ko rin yun sa mga office mates ko pag ayaw nila akong pansinin. Nagpapapansin ako, nagkukulit-kulit ako. So, hindi naman siya toxic, especially kung hindi naman talaga, pag hindi naman super busy. Pero pag toxic time, for example, talagang super busy lahat, tapos may nagpapapansin pa, parang KSP. Yon, dun may mali. May mga office mates yata ako sa yung mga previous office mates kong nanonood. Alam nila to, yung makulit ako. Like, minsan lalapitan ko yung mga office mates ko, kulitin ko sila, may chocolates ba kayo dyan? I do that when, pre-pandemic. I do that to my office mates. And naalala nila ako na, yun nga, mahilig ako manghingi ng chocolate sa mga tables nila. Although most of the time, wala naman ako napapala. Pero, ayun. Okay. So, next is to be kind. I think, wala ba tayong episode on kindness? How to practice kindness? Parang wala pa, no? But, this is very generic. You can be kind in so many ways. You can be kind by shutting up. Yesterday, di ba, ang topic natin is how to control your tongue. You can be kind by not saying your comments, unnecessary comments. Yeah, so be kind. Next is think before you act. We also said this last night na bago tayo magsalita, always think before you speak. Dito naman, think before you act. So, mag-isip ka muna bago ka kumilos so that you will know that you are doing the right thing. Next is to lower your ego or your pride. We all have that. Everybody has that. But we have to remember that, di ba may kasabihan tayo sa Tagalog, pride lang daw ang, pride lang ang hindi nakakain. Yun ba yun? Something like that. Ang pangit ko mag-deliver ng punchline, I swear. But anyway, so, walang nabubusog sa pride, yung pala yun. Walang taong nabubusog sa pride. Mabubusog ka sa fried chicken, fried beef, whatever. Pero walang mabubusog sa pride. So, paminsan-minsan, ibaba din natin yung mga pride natin. Okay? Bukod sa hindi siya nakakabusog, hindi rin siya nakakayaman most of the time. Next is to reach out to others. Again, this is easier said than done. Lalong-lalo na kung introvert ka. It's easier said than done, but it's worth it. Okay? Lahat naman ng mga sinasabi ko dito, even though ni-research natin yung ibang mga sinasabi natin sa mga podcast episodes, hindi ko rin naman sinasabi kung hindi ko pa nagagawa. Okay? So, nagawa ko na siya. So, yung pag-reach out sa ibang tao, mahirap siyang gawin kasi minsan may mga tao talagang sadyang snob, di ba? Pero it's worth it kasi you never know if that person needs someone to talk to. If they don't, then that's okay. But what if during the time na nag-reach out ka, yun yung time or ikaw yung naging dahilan para malaman niya that he or she is not alone. Especially amidst the pandemic, everybody feels isolated, right? And people reaching out to people, that means a lot. It may not be so obvious. Like, madalas nangungumusta ako sa kung kani-kanino. Seryoso to ha, sa personal friends list ko. Kahit sino-sino, kinukumusta ko. Pag nag-comment sila sa mga, sa stories ko, ganyan, or nag-comment sila sa picture, nakikipag-usap ako as much as I can. Because I would also like to know how they are. Not everybody's okay. And some people only look okay, but they're not really okay. So reaching out to people is very good. you don't necessarily have to pry into their personal lives. Hindi mo naman kailangan mangialam sa buhay nila. But the thing is, you reaching out to them means a lot, especially to those who are sad, who are going through a tough time. Wala silang makausap, hindi sila makapag-open up. You reaching out to them, that means a lot. Pero again, respect boundaries. Kung ayaw nila mag-share, wag nating pilitin. And okay, next is to build others up instead of tearing them down. It's easier said than done, building others up, but it's also challenging, especially if people don't want to be helped. But again, remember where your control is. You can only control yourself, your actions, your thoughts, but you cannot control other people's reactions or responses towards you. It's important to know your boundaries para hindi ka maging toxic. Pero again I'm not saying that we are perfect. Lahat tayo nagiging toxic every now and then. We have to remember that we should stop labeling people that they are toxic without first looking at ourselves and asking ourselves, are we toxic too? Kasi for sure, naging toxic din naman tayo in one way or another. And let me take this opportunity to apologize to those people I have offended nung naging toxic din ako. Or every now and then, maybe magiging toxic din ako bukas, we never know. Because again, we always have that, we also have dark moments in our lives. We also have circumstances we always have circumstances which go beyond our control, and if that happens, we become toxic too. But the thing is, we have to heighten our awareness. We have to raise our awareness. We have to know if we are already becoming toxic. And the only way to do that is to really introspect, to really dig deeper with yourself, or to really assess yourself as much as you can. Dapat alamin mo sa sarili mo kung nagiging toxic ka nga ba. Kausapin mo yung sarili mo paminsan-minsan. Mag-board meeting kayo, 'di ba? Kapag hindi ka sure sa mga sagot ng sarili mo kasi kayong dalawa lang nag-uusap, pwede kang magtanong sa ibang tao. I always ask people whenever I'm in doubt if I'm being toxic or what. I ask people, I ask my teammates, I ask my friends, I ask the people around me. I'm not scared to ask people if I'm being toxic. Kasi kung toxic totoo naman di baguhin mo. Mas maganda nga yun when somebody tells you that you're becoming toxic para mabago mo, di ba? Kasi baka mamaya hindi ka aware. So, at least maganda kapag may nagsasabi sa'yo, alam mo, Ivorine, toxic ka na. Dapat magbago ka. Maganda yun, di ba? Meron nagsasabi sa'yo. Okay, so, ay, grabe, nakapaka-approachable ko ba? Pag natotoxic na ako, si Miss Ice lang kinakausap ko. She's my antidote. Oh, that's so cute. Thank you. Ma'am Noreen, good evening po. Thank you so much for tuning in. Ay, ma'am, nako. Nasanay ka, ma'am, na 8 p.m. Napaaga ako kasi may appointment ako ng 8 p.m. So, nood po kayo ng replay nito. Thank you, Ma'am Noreen. Okay, everyone, I hope you learned a thing or two from our conversation for tonight, and we'll be back tomorrow for another episode of Empowerment Wednesdays. By the way, we will be resuming to the regular programming. It's gonna be 8 p.m. tomorrow. Ngayon lang yung kakaiba kasi nga nagkaroon ako ng appointment ng 8 p.m. So, medyo 2 minutes late na ako. But thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure to do this. Also, thank you so much to those who are constantly supporting me in my channel. And if you have comments, suggestions, recommendations, I'll definitely read them, and we'll do our best to come up with your recommendations as well. By the way, may isang nag-recommend na parang yung letter, kung gusto ko daw magbasa daw ng mga stories ng iba't ibang tao, yung mga humingi ng advice. Sige, kung gusto nyo humingi ng advice, maglalagay din ako ng Dear Ate Ivy. ng Dear Ate Ivorine. Sige, para naman meron tayong ganyang episode. Pero wag niyo naman masyadong habaan kung magpapadala kayo sa akin ng sulat. You can send your letters through business@ivorine.com. It's posted on the channel. You can also send me a private message, or you can send it through my WhatsApp number, which is posted on the channel. Thank you so much, everyone. I hope you learned something tonight and have a happy week ahead of you. Good night, everyone. Stay safe, stay healthy, and God bless you all. Thank you. Bye.